Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me. Now today is day 17th of the Stampendous 31 Days of Halloween blog hop. And if you haven't been over there to visit, I encourage you to do that. Lots of fun, inspiration, and prizes to be won. So links will be in the description area below or over on my blog. But today I'm going to be playing with this stamp set. It's so cute. It's called Halloween Hats. And I'm also going to bring in this sentiment stamp. I love the big words on here. In fact, it's called Big Word Thanks. And then I'm also going to bring in a small stencil. Perfect size for card making. It is actually 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And it's called the Bricks Stencil. So these three products we're going to create a card with today. So let's jump in. I'm going to grab my Mini Misty. We're going to do some stamping. I grabbed both the pumpkins and then both the hats. I'm going to ink them up with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm actually stamping it on a piece of gray cardstock. It's a very soft, subtle gray. I'm going to stamp that a few times. And I'm also going to leave my images in my platform because when we're done coloring, I'm going to go back over my images. So if we don't touch them, they're in the perfect position to restamp. Now for today's coloring, I'm going to be using my Prismacolors. I did leave the coloring in. I only have a 12 set of the Prismacolors, but they work fantastic for me, and I'm able to blend and create some really pretty color combinations with it. So I'm going to play a little bit of music while I color, and when I'm done, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done, and I did forget to color in my little pumpkin Frankenstein head, those little side thingamajiggers. But I'm just going to color in with my white and my black pencil. But these images are so cute. Okay, now here's where I'm going to bring in my Mini Misty. We're going to just place this back inside the platform. And since I did go over the images with my colored pencil, it dulled down my black lines. So I'm going to go over my images again with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and this is just going to really make my images pop. I'm going to stamp it a few times, but here you can see it just makes them so vibrant, and it just enhances those black lines again once more. Now, since it is VersaFine ink, it is going to stay wet a little bit, so I suggest you use your heat gun or wait a little while before you die cut them out. I did get a few little smears, but I'm going to take the coordinating dies since this is a Stampin' die set. I'm just going to cut those out, and the nice thing about these dies is that they do cut to the line. So I ran it through my die cut machine, and then the top plate of my die cut machine had ink on it. So that's why I went over after the fact with my heat gun to kind of speed up the drying process. So those are cut out. Now we're going to work on our background. This panel is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4. I just cut it out with the same gray cardstock, and then I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending with the stencil here. I'm just going to tape it down with my purple tape. And I didn't want to go over the entire background of this panel. I just kind of wanted it to be kind of at a diagonal. So I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks. This is Vintage Photo. And I'm just going to, again, go at a little bit of a diagonal. Once I add my vintage photo, we're going to grab a little bit of orange. This is ripe persimmon. I'm going to go right over the vintage photo. And I had to add a few more pieces of tape because my stencil was sliding. And then finally, for my third color, I'm going to go in with some candied apple. Just add a little bit of red to that brick background. I'm going to peel up my stencil, and you can see I didn't go all the way to the edges. I kind of like that effect here. Lovely. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. So using the big words thanks, I'm going to first kind of arrange how I want my pumpkins on my panel. This way I can kind of position where I want my sentiment to go. And I decided to use the U, and that's the larger, real pretty font, and then I'm going to end up using the smaller font that says "Are Awesome." So I'm going to remove my little pumpkins. I'm going to ink up my U with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. It's going to go over that Oxide ink beautifully. I stamped it a couple times just to get it nice and bold. Lovely. Now we're going to take the same gray cardstock, and I'm using the smaller sentiment that says "Are Awesome," and I'm actually going to pop it up with some foam tape. So I'm going to stamp that towards the bottom of my scratch paper here, and I'll just take my scissors and block it off. And then we're going to go ahead and grab a piece of foam tape and place that right behind. Now I know I want to pop this panel up with some dimension, so I decided to use some fun foam behind here. I just added it to my card base, which is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding card base, and it's using the same gray cardstock that I used for my images and my background. Okay, I had a problem with my ink today. Sometimes I have good days, sometimes I have bad days, and today was not a good day. I was getting ink everywhere. I think I even had it on my hands. Okay, I'm going to kind of arrange my pumpkins towards the bottom, and I'm going to add some foam squares behind there. We'll add the second part of our sentiment. Place that right below the U. Okay, see, there's some more ink. Okay, now for bells and whistles, I did decide to grab, these are some clear, like iridescent stars. They're in 2 different sizes, and I just want to bring a little bit of sparkle to my background, so I added a few here and there. And that's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. I encourage you to check out the Stampendous Blog Hop. Tons of inspiration, and you could win a prize. Links are, again, are in the description area. Have a fantastic day, guys. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.